8233, check the status.
Code 4. Can you check call history on that address? Sheriff's office!
These were the very first moments, the beginning of a heartbreaking mystery.
We're all one phone call away from tragedy.
Hello?
Yes, good morning, Mrs. Landry.
Yeah?
My name is Trooper Flores with the Texas Highway Patrol. I'm currently at a crash scene involving a 2003 Nissan Altima. The vehicle was abandoned, the back windows busted out, and found Jason David Landry's driver license and wallet and personal effects inside his backpack.
What he did not find, what nobody's found, is a driver of that wrecked car, 21-year-old Jason Landry. Landry is a Texas State University student who on one cold winter night was on his way home to Missouri City for winter break, but he never made it.
You know, as a dad, your primary role is to protect your family. And you'll do anything for them.
These are Jason's clothes lying in the road. It's hard to see. Those are 2 pairs of socks, shorts.
Pastor Kent Landry, Jason's dad, was among the first to put boots on the ground in the search for Jason. Can you imagine what that feels like? Looking for your lost son. That overwhelming feeling of fear.
Jason walked this way towards Luling or whoever. God, please be with him.
Kent Landry had driven hours to retrace his son's steps, and at first daybreak after Jason's disappearance, he was the only one searching.
What if he was alive? And I was the only one looking for him.
Jason Landry, a Texas State University student.
Right now, they're searching for him.
Search efforts resumed this morning.
Authorities found his car
New
totaled.
details surrounding
The family still does not have answers.
But he wouldn't be. That very day and the days, weeks, and months that followed, an army of people searched for Jason Landry. All of it, though, fruitless.
Just the sheer disappearance of an individual where there's nothing to be found.
How much territory do you think you all have covered in your searches for him?
Over 52 square miles.
Really?
Yes, sir.
On the ground?
On the ground.
It's mind-boggling that on a near-freezing night with little to no clothes, Landry could have gotten very far from that crash scene. Yet he's seemingly vaporized, and the man in charge of the investigation has an unsavory theory about what happened.
So one of the possible working theories is that he could have been completely devoured?
Yes, sir. I don't think hogs killed him, right? I do think that if hogs are opportunistic, if a hog in December encounters a meal, whether that's a human or not, I don't think a hog's gonna skip that.
Captain Jeff Ferry thinks there's a good chance Landry was eaten by giant wild hogs. Kent Landry thinks that conclusion is a little too convenient, that his son wandered off, possibly under the influence, died from exposure, and then was completely devoured by animals. No.
Maybe it makes you feel better to just say, blame it all on Jason.
There are most certainly questions about the investigation itself. Take, for example, Jason's car. Initially, it was not properly secured, admits the Caldwell County Sheriff's Office.
In my mind, it's secured in the tow lot. We had assumed that DPS would have secured that, and that's not what happened.
Jason's dad is the one who found Jason's cell phone in that car the next day as it sat unlocked in a wrecker lot. And the car wouldn't be processed for evidence for 4 more days.
If stuff like that is messed up, maybe you've missed important clues that it was a crime.
Maybe.
We found Jason Landry's car in a junkyard. And when it was dropped here about a year ago, it still contained Jason's belongings. We found that curious.
There was all kind of stuff in it, and...
Like what?
Well, I would consider it personal stuff, There was papers and whatnot.
If you go down that road of not believing anything happened to Jason that night, then you're not going to go down that road of talking to people.
Abel Pena spent 26 years in the FBI. He's now a private investigator and is working the Jason Landry case pro bono. He thinks the Caldwell County Sheriff's Office is convinced there was no crime, so they haven't explored every avenue. And he's right.
There's no evidence of a crime.
Caldwell County is sitting on a mountain of collected DNA from Jason's car, but has no plans to process it because there's no evidence of foul play, says Captain Ferry.
Maybe there's not evidence of a crime because you haven't collected and processed enough evidence.
So you would have to discount all the evidence we do have to make that argument.
When's the last input happening on the phone? Here. The captain's theory is that Landry, under the influence, made a wrong turn, got lost, and died somewhere in the wilderness. The backbone of his belief is based on Jason's phone, or rather, how it pinged that night.
We know he was in the car by himself when he left San Marcos.
Okay.
And that the car didn't stop.
If his car did not stop until it crashed, the thinking goes, then Jason did not meet anyone along the way who killed him. Pena says phone pings are just not precise enough to make that call, and he thinks something happened at this Luling intersection. It's here where Jason should have taken a right to get on I-10 and go home, but instead he went straight. Why?
We strongly believe that something happened at the intersection, which either caused him to go down that road, if it was him, or perhaps he was not driving that car that night, and somebody else may have been driving that car.
Ferry doesn't buy it, but a fresh set of eyes just might. And that appears to be coming, as the Texas Attorney General's Cold Case Squad has now agreed to take another look at the Jason Landry case. Better late than never, says Jason's father.
We pray that we will have answers and we'll know the truth. But if it's God's will and we don't know, well, we know where he is.